All right, let's dive right in. We're talking about a super secretive constitutional amendment in Pakistan that could literally reshape the country's entire power structure. It is a massive story about power, about politics, and a proposal so controversial that the government hasn't even officially released the draft yet. So, let's break down what we actually know about this 27th Amendment.
And this quote from politician Ali Zafar really just captures the heart of the whole debate. He says, "Constitutions are not murdered by bullets, but by malified amendments made under the garb of reform." And that right there, that sets the stage perfectly for the big question we're all asking. Is this a much-needed reform, or is it something else?
So what is actually in this thing? Well, here's the crazy part. Nobody seems to know for sure. The whole process is completely shrouded in secrecy. An official draft hasn't been made public, and some reports are even suggesting that a few government ministers haven't even seen the final text themselves.
Okay, so since there's no official document to go by, everything we're about to talk about is based on leaked drafts, on media reports, and just a lot of political chatter. This is really our best effort at piecing together what this monumental shift could look like. So based on all these leaks, it looks like the amendment is targeting 4 massive areas: a complete overhaul of the courts, a brand new command structure for the military, some pretty big changes to how the federal government works, and bringing back a local magisterial system. Look, any one of these would be huge, but all of them together, they could fundamentally change the very fabric of the state.
Now let's get into what many people think is the most explosive part of this whole proposal: the changes to the judiciary. And let's be clear, this isn't just some minor adjustment. This is a reported plan for a complete and total restructuring of the entire court system.
The absolute cornerstone of this alleged reform is the creation of an entirely new top court, a federal constitutional court. Now, this isn't just an expansion of the current system. No. It's a parallel structure that's designed to sit above everything else.
And this is where you can really see the dramatic shift in power. The existing Supreme Court, well, it would be pretty much stripped of its most important jobs, limited to just hearing civil and criminal appeals. All the big stuff, all the constitutional matters, which is the real heart of judicial power, that would all move to the new federal constitutional court. And that famous suo motu power the Supreme Court has, its ability to just start cases on its own, gone, eliminated.
So let's be really clear about what this means. The new court's decisions would be binding on all other courts, and that includes the Supreme Court. So in essence, the Supreme Court of Pakistan would be demoted. It would become a subordinate court to this new constitutional body. Just wow.
Okay, if you thought that was a big deal, the second major area of change is just as profound. This one focuses on the command structure of the armed forces, and get this, the creation of an exceptionally powerful new role.
So first, let's just make sure we're all on the same page about the current status of a field marshal. Historically, it's been an honorary, ceremonial title, given for incredible service. It's a recognition, not an active command rank in the hierarchy.
But the leaked draft reportedly transforms this role from just ceremonial to, well, supreme. The field marshal would become a lifetime appointment, and they'd be granted the same legal immunity as the president. That ban on holding political office after retirement, yeah, that would be scrapped. And crucially, they could only be removed through a really complex impeachment process, making them almost untouchable.
This visual here does a great job of showing the proposed consolidation of power. Right now, you've got the different service chiefs coordinated by a chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff Committee. The proposal, though, reportedly gets rid of that position and makes the Army chief the chief of the Defense Forces, putting them in direct command of the Army, the Navy, and the Air Force.
So all of this, it leads to a massive question: why? Why do all of this? Why undertake such a fundamental constitutional overhaul right now? To even begin to understand the context, we've got to look at the political theories that are swirling around it. So what's the thinking behind this potential overhaul? Well, one prominent analysis comes from senior journalist Najim Sethi. He argues that the motivation is a widespread belief, at least in some circles, that the democratic system itself has failed.
According to this theory, the amendment is really an attempt to make the Constitution reflect what some people see as the reality on the ground. The argument goes something like this: political parties, the judiciary, the bureaucracy, they've all lost public trust, and they failed to deliver. In this view, the military is seen as the only institution that's still stable and effective. And so this amendment is designed to formalize that power dynamic right inside the Constitution itself.
But hold on, how could such a sweeping and, let's face it, controversial amendment actually become law? Well, at the end of the day, it all comes down to the political math.
To amend the constitution in Pakistan, it's a high bar. You need a 2/3 majority in both houses of parliament. So in the upper house, the Senate, that magic number you have to hit is 64 votes.
And here is the legislative challenge for the government. The ruling coalition currently has 61 senators. So if you look at the numbers, that means they are just 3 votes short of the 64 they need. To get this thing passed, they are going to have to negotiate with their allies or convince a few members of the opposition to cross the aisle.
Now, in the lower house, the National Assembly, the situation looks totally different, much more favorable for the government. They seem to have more than the 224 votes they need for that 2/3 majority, and that makes the Senate the real primary battlefield for this amendment.
And so that leaves us with the central, massive question that is dividing Pakistan. Is this 27th Amendment a necessary pragmatic reform to align the Constitution with reality and create some stability? Or is it, as critics like Ali Zafar warn, a mollified amendment that risks kicking off a full-blown constitutional crisis? The answer, whatever it is going to define the country's future.